Good morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? In the diary of the griever named John Weaver, which is me. It is June 14th, 2026. It's about nearly 5 before 9 in the morning. Give it another minute or two. It'll be that way. My mama dog is up, wandering around, wondering how come she's up and awake, but she is. We both had a rough night, as usual. And this morning, on the East Coast, weather is setting in, maybe making things a little bit more difficult for certain. I don't know what the hell they would call the 80-year-old fart, except I call him an 80-year-old fart who's trying to celebrate a birthday. And White House seems to be having issues shutting itself down because they can't stand what's going on. That would be my dog right now. And she's wondering what the hell's going on right now. What's going on is she's still waking up and can't get herself up. Give me a second, guys. Come on, Ma. Come on, there we go. So today is another event regarding No King's Day. They're saying this because we're protesting Donald Trump in every which way, shape, or form, including on his birthday. Now, the thing is, and I'm going to put this on the public record, okay? You guys may hate me for this one. And I wouldn't be amiss of having comments on this one. I wouldn't be miffed. I'd be wanting your remarks on this one. I put the No Kings up because I don't like Trump acting as a king. He says everything and it is supposed to be done. Presidents don't work that way. At least 250 years worth of it anyway. But he's the first, and he's trying to make his indelible mark on everybody. Today he's celebrating his mortal corpse of being 80 years old. Not 80 years young, 80 years old. Like I feel it every day in my own damn body, that I'm feeling 60. I already celebrated a lousy birthday a few months back. I'm being in pain after dealing with her for a while, lifting her up from the ground to my bed just to shut her up. She wanted. Yeah, well, she's gotten already. But this morning, what do we have? Well, we have news of, I don't know what to call him anymore. No, it's not the name of the ugly one. No, what I was stating is, how do I deal with this guy and label the term of the is it an octogenarian? Is that the terminology for it? I gotta research that one. Yeah, I'm researching while I'm losing time and everything else on this damn phone. What else is new? What else is new? But for right now, I need to find out what the terminology is for. Birthday. Well, next one against the Spurs, 4-1. We're going to get sunny out here in Roseman, California. We're going to get hot and windier. Welcome to summer. We got storm clouds coming into the East Coast. Severe weather watch. Large patch of water may see a little tipping point. Oh, terrific. Now what do we got going on here? Okay, so what would they say about an 80-year-old man? Octogenarian milestone. That's what they would call it, an octogenarian. Okay, isn't that fun? Roll that around your tongue, guys. When you reach 80 years old, you'll be an Octa being 8-sided. So you're an 8-sided 80-year-old fart who has reached the term octogenarian. And now, what else are you going to do? To think of it, I would celebrate a man reaching 80th. And maybe older than that. And they should. They should celebrate every day of life. They should be grateful that they're alive for another day and not counting down until they're going to die. Or maybe they are and they're depressed as hell. In our political nature, in our political theater, we're going to say something about that. This is being a pain in the ass to a hell of a lot of people, I'll tell you that much. They really want to turn on MS now. If I can get this damn thing to work. Hell.
Between 5 million and 7 million soccer fans from around the world to the 11 host cities in the United States. New York City and New Jersey are expected to attract 1.2 million fans.
So they're talking about the fight again.
All walks of life from all across
Soccer.
the globe coming together here in the United States of America. And at a time when this country feels more divided than ever, these moments of unity really do matter. But as the games get underway, the Trump administration's brutal immigration crackdown is casting a huge shadow over what should be a celebratory time.
Yep.
Just this week, Border Czar Tom Homan said ICE officers will provide security during the games, focusing primarily, he says, on public safety and human trafficking and counterfeit goods. That would be HSI, Homeland Security investigations, not immigration enforcement. But many soccer fans and stadium workers and some local officials are skeptical. And they might have a reason to be skeptical. I think they do. This is the same administration that claims it only arrests the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst. The same administration detaining babies in ICE custody, 500 of them, babies and toddlers, since the beginning of this administration, as we reported earlier this week. That same administration is arresting citizens who protest these brutal immigration tactics. And now a Washington Post University of Maryland poll released last week found that roughly 65% of Americans oppose ICE agents being stationed at United States stadiums during the tournament. And while ICE says it will not be specifically targeting the World Cup, Border Czar Tom Homan had a different message for New York City this week.
They're fucked.
You're going to see more ICE agents you ever seen in New York City, and it's coming. I just reviewed an operational plan. I'm not going to know exactly when it's going to happen, but it's coming.
That was not the first time that Homan has issued a warning to New York. When Homan met with Governor Kathy Hochul back in March, he warned that if she opposed ICE's operations in New York, he would respond similarly to, quote, how we dealt with Minnesota. You remember what happened in Minnesota, right? 2 U.S. citizens killed by federal agents, numerous violent arrests, and hundreds of detentions affecting both citizens and migrants alike. Earlier, I spoke with Mayor Mamdani, who had this to say about Homan's threats.
These kinds of threats, as you've said, from Tom Homan and the federal administration, they're not new, and neither will our response be. We continue to be proud of being a sanctuary city. We continue to be ready to stand up for our immigrant neighbors, and we continue to be ready to use every single tool at our disposal. And I've said to the president directly that I believe that ICE raids are cruel, and they do nothing to serve in the interests of public safety, and I do believe it's a rogue agency that should be abolished, because we need an approach to immigration in this country that has more humanity at the heart of it.
Yep.
Pay attention to the timing of all this. Homan's latest ICE to New York comes after Governor Hochul signed legislation that bans law enforcement officers from wearing masks and prevents state and local enforcement from engaging in civil immigration enforcement. The legislation also bans federal authorities from using state and local facilities for the purposes of immigration enforcement. Let's be clear about something. ICE's presence has already been felt in New York City. It's just been more covert than what we have seen in other cities. Instead of large-scale operations, many arrests have taken place in smaller neighborhoods, and in particular, inside immigration courthouses. According to a city report released in May, New York City experienced a more than 70% increase in federal immigration arrests since Donald Trump returned to the White House. ICE arrested more than 5,500 people in the New York City area between Trump's inauguration and in January 25, and March of this year. And according to that audit, more than half of those arrests, of the 5,500, happened at immigration court inside 26 Federal Plaza. This is what that looks like. Migrants show up for their court dates as ordered. Some would leave the courthouse without incident, but others would disappear into ICE's detention system. Let me reiterate that. Migrants are being legally mandated to attend court hearings, and then many are getting arrested when they show up to do so. I personally visited and reported from 26 Federal Plaza in New York City last summer and watched as ICE carried out its operations within these courthouse walls. One regular observer of those operations has been former New York City Comptroller and congressional candidate Brad Lander. Lander frequently accompanied migrants to and from court, and at times placing himself between them and ICE officers. He was even arrested on more than one occasion, just trying to ensure that every migrant gets due process. Lander has described 26 Federal Plaza not as a venue for justice, but as a, quote, abduction trap. This week, a federal judge found Lander not guilty of a misdemeanor obstruction charge stemming from a September protest outside an ICE holding area where prosecutors said he blocked an elevator. Raising awareness to the Trump administration's immigration policies meant so much to Brad Lander that he rejected a plea deal that would have dismissed the charge instead of choosing to take the case to trial. And joining me now is former New York City Comptroller and candidate for Congress to represent part of Manhattan, Brooklyn, Brad Lander. Brad, it's good to see you. Great to be here. Congrats.
And while he would have his talk with other people about it, here's another version of it. I've got it online on social media talking about it. It's a guy named Texas Paul, and he's got his life thing going on. I'm just waiting for the damn commercial to get past. Catching a mid-sentence here.
We starting wars just to start wars because they need a distraction and think that human life is so meaningless that you can just go bomb a country and kill people, kill children.
The legacy.
Just because some octogenarian, demented, decrepit piece of crap needs a distraction, wants to look like a tough guy. But you only get that if we never let them wash the Trump stank off. If you never let the country forget. Don't let Trump fade into obscurity, because they're going to be trying to shove him into obscurity. They are. And folks, I promise you, any road named after him, somebody more deserving will come along and they'll rename the road. He will fade out, despite our greatest efforts to make sure that the Republican Party gets a T carved into their foreheads. He'll go away. Your children will rename everything named after him. How many Buchanan causeways have you seen? How many William Howard Taft schools of business have you seen? How many? You see where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going with this?
I see where he's going with it. Now, on a guy who's celebrating 80 years old, said before I'd celebrate, but we're not dealing with just an 80-year-old. I just wanted to give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, just a little bit. And of course, a lot of people say, no, you can't give it all. I'm sorry, I may disagree with every damn thing he's done. And I may be lured into hating this son of a bitch. Problem is how I was raised. I'll hate the politics. I'll hate his filth coming out of his mouth, and if this is everything else he is. But to me, he's still a human being. A lot of people say he isn't. He's a demon. But my own mindset, my own belief, he still has to deal with God on his own way. He's got to deal with the universe and its judgment. Maybe the universe won't care about this guy. The problem is the people in my lifetime and around me will care, and they will continue to hate. They will not learn how to be human and forgive even the most heinous mistakes. Because a lot of people are still doing that. I'm not a better human being. No way, and I'm a full of an idiot, I know that. But there's a lot of hating, there's a lot of loathing. This guy wants the ultimate. His ego is knowing no bounds at this point over here. But the problem is the people are saying no more. They don't want to deal with him and his massive ego issues. They want to tell him to go to hell. They equate him with Hitler. Hitler had people around him who hated the Jews, apparently. 6 million Jews and 6 million other people died out, but it's apparent. The most dumbest, asinine statement I've made so far. And yes, he blamed everybody. He had this insanity going on for this short shit with a short mustache and had this ego to go crazy over. As I look back in history, Trump will live in history as one of the world's greatest mistakes. And there are plenty of them, including in our country, world's greatest mistakes, country's greatest mistakes, our own individual mistakes that we've made, that we knew that we never will accept accountability, transparency, or responsibility. And I do, because I didn't do enough to keep the son of a bitch out of office. Now, I couldn't prevent him from growing up in a lifestyle. There's no way in hell I could have done that. But I didn't do everything in my power of vocalizing to people about the dangers of this con man who got a hold of America's heart and started squeezing everything else out of it. And now he's trying to prove that he is more worthy than everybody else. And he's going to be proven in history about how dangerous he was to our country. We've had other presidents that'll be buried in history. It won't be publicized all the damn time. We take out the name of Trump everywhere. It's not that he will go away. He still has people following him, not just relatives. We're talking about other people who follow his thinking. They'll probably feel disenfranchised, disappear, or maybe they'll try to continue his legacy of being angry and hateful and hurtful to people. The thing of it is, we already had this shit going on, people. Humanity had this. We had these individual tyrants in their own time periods who wanted to make things great. And then we didn't have any evidence about them or any information about them. We would know about these little miniature tyrants who tried to make themselves into godhood. As long as we kept studying about them, they won't be forgotten. And neither will Trump, but he won't be forgotten. He won't be remembered in a good way, except for those who keep following him. And they'll be labeled as a cult. He wasn't bringing life. He was bringing chaos and confusion and confliction to the world, to everybody, on his way to fill his ego, his avarice, his hubris. I have other people who want to spew bile and vitriol and go crazy at this point over here. They want to see They want to mention what kind of an asshole he is, and we can't do this and we can't do that, and yada yada yada. I'm going to hear that. I'm going to hear that all the time, even when he dies. His family will still be there to carry on the legacy. Case in point. Well, maybe I should do another video on that one. That being said for this one. If I can get my phone to work right, I need a new phone.